Hi, this is Johnny Morrow with Track the Lead. Just wanted to welcome you to a training we're doing today, and one of many trainings that we're going to be doing for you guys. Um, Today we're going to be teaching part of our Agent Success series on what are the 3 things agents should be doing every day. Because agents often get caught up doing things they shouldn't be doing. So we want to talk about what they should be doing. If you ever heard of the 80-20 rule, well, 80% of your time should be spent on the 20% of your business that is going to get you the most money or the most return on invested time. So what are those 3 things that I believe that you should be doing and that I learned from a mentor of mine, Bill Nasby? Well, that's prospecting, presenting, and following up. Those are the 3 things that you should be doing 80% of the time in order to generate more income for your business. Okay, so we're going to go through those one by one. The first one is prospecting, and prospecting, the definition of that is to go out in search of. You know, when I think of prospecting, I think of the gold prospectors who used to go out to California and they would be prospecting for gold. They'd be going through all the silt, getting rid of all the dirt just to find those nuggets of gold. Well, prospecting is very much like that. And there's 2 types of prospecting that you can be doing. One of them is active prospecting. I like to akin that to the hunter, the one who's going out actually hunting, going and getting the leads. And then there's the passive one, which is more of the trapper, the one who goes out and sets the traps and then goes out and checks the traps and collects his game, right? That's how I like to look at those 2. So let's talk a little bit about active prospecting, what that entails. And active prospecting is calling for sell by owners, or calling expireds, or even knocking on those doors. Being active and going out and getting those leads, not waiting for them to come to you, but you going out and going to them. Active prospecting could be in the grocery store when you're handing out cards and just talking to people, asking them, hey, are you guys planning to move now or in the near future, right? It could be going to putting a booth somewhere at a real estate show, but actually going out and talking to people, not just sitting behind the booth, but actually going out, shaking hands, and talking to folks, right? And then with passive, you have your online lead generation, which pay-per-click or something like that, sending out postcards. There's a particular way to do postcards, but sending out postcards, even sitting in the office taking office calls, doing open houses where you put out signs and you sit there and you wait for people to come to you. And then there's paid-for leads that you can pay companies like Trulia or Zillow, hundreds of dollars, or some that are several hundred, or some that are thousands, but you get a certain amount of leads that you can follow up with. And then of course the referrals. So being passive is you're putting out traps and you're waiting for people to come to you so that you can talk to them. All right. So those are the 2 types of prospecting, and you should be doing that much of the time. And when you're prospecting, you're setting up appointments, right? So then when you set up appointments, presenting is the act of showing somebody something. Now, I don't like to use a presentation per se or show people. I like to think of it more as having a conversation. I found that both sellers and buyers are getting more savvy. They can go to the internet, get a lot of the information themselves. A lot of them feel pretty confident that they can sell it themselves. So what I want to do is I want to have a conversation with them when I'm presenting to them. This is your face-to-face meeting with a buyer or a seller. And when I'm in this face-to-face meeting, I want to accomplish a couple of things. One of them is to actually build rapport with them. And I'll do this by asking about their family size, how many people are going to live in this home, why are they moving? If they've lived in the house, how long have they lived there? Why did they buy the house when they bought the house? The buyer, or school's important to you. I'm just having a conversation with them, asking them questions. Now, when I'm doing this, I'm going to be able to build trust with them, especially if I can find something that we have in common. Maybe we went to the same high school if we're in the same city, in the same area. Or maybe we're both married, which I find that a lot. We can always comment about marriage. If we have children, if the children are in sports, or if they're in the chess club, whatever it is, if you find something common with the other person, it's easier to build trust with them. And if they like you and they trust you, they might use you as their realtor, okay? Now, during this conversation, I'm going to actually want to demonstrate my knowledge. And the best way that I find that it's easy for me to go through with them is to actually go through the process. If I'm with a buyer, I go through the buying process with them, what they can expect when they're working with me. With the seller, I'll go through the selling process with them, right? And as I'm going through this, I'm going to hit on some hot buttons with them. And when I say hot buttons, think about it. What are the main two reasons why contracts fall apart and don't close? Well, those main two reasons are probably inspection. So I will talk to the buyer the importance of inspection, put in there, why they want to do one and do the proper inspections, because they don't want to move in and have to, and the AC not be working, and they have to dish out $3,000 or $6,000 right away. That's not what I want my buyer to do. If I'm the seller, I want them to get an inspection because I know the buyer's going to do one. And the buyer's going to find all these things wrong, and they're going to ask the seller to fix it. And they're going to ask the seller to use contractors, and they're going to ask the seller to use licensed contractors that are bonded, right? Whereas if it's something simple that the seller can fix those if they get the inspection before the buyer ever knows about it, and it's going to save them a ton of money. All right. The other thing is financing, and there's many ways that you can talk about financing and how to protect both the buyer and the seller. Okay. And then of course the last one, which I think is the most important one, is the following up. And following up is to maintain contact, and that's to maintain contact with those folks who aren't ready now. Because from my experience with the way that I generate leads, I find that 85 to 95% of the leads that I talk to will not be ready to move in the next 30 to 90 days. Especially with the internet, people are going a year ahead of time, looking at neighborhoods, getting information before they're ever ready. So I want to maintain contact with these people. And I got to tell you, this was true for me in my early career, and it's true for a lot of realtors now, is that this is the number one place where realtors lose money. I mean, think about it. If somebody's looking a year ahead of time, trying to figure out which neighborhood they want to move into, and you're there helping them a year before they go, and they're getting emails from you on the areas they're interested in, and you're calling them once a month or once every 2 months, whatever your rule is, when they're ready to move, they're going to call you, right? You have a much better chance of being that person, okay? And the other thing is, you'll lose track of those not ready to move now. In my early career, I used a spiral notebook, and I would just write everything down, put a big circle around it, right? And if they weren't ready to move now and I didn't meet with them now, I would switch the page and go to the next page and write down the next thing. And every once in a while, I would go back through and look and call people. I can't tell you how much money I lost doing that. So you just want to make sure that you have a system in place. A system like trackthelead.com, which is a very simple system in order to follow up with those people who are not ready now. And one of the most important things is you do have to have defined rules of follow-up. If somebody's moving a year to now, I know that I'm doing this, so you have that set up where I'm emailing them on, every month or every week, however you set it up, and I'm calling them at certain times throughout the year until they're ready. The other thing is I have my reminders automatically set up. So when I put them on a campaign or something like that, and I go and I actually do my follow-up activity at my scheduled time, the reminder is already there, and I don't have to think. I just have to click on that reminder, look at my notes, make a call, or look at my notes and send an email. Whatever action it is that I need to do, I know that I know what I need to do, and I don't have to think about it. I just have to do it. What I found is if I have to think, or if realtors have to think, then we move way slower, right? And don't forget about your past clients or your friends. I have my friends in my database, and I call them once every 6 months. And I'll BS with them a little bit, but I'm there to call them, and they know this now, to ask them, hey, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell now or in the near future? Right? I got that term from somebody else, but that's what I use. And lo and behold, I get 1 or 2 that know somebody, that put me in contact with somebody every year. Now, I'm getting more referrals than that of people calling me out of the blue that I've used, who I called maybe 4 months ago, and they're calling me, hey, I have a friend of mine. Or I'll get a call and say, hey, somebody referred me. As you get more and more in this business and you ask for that referral, you're going to find that that's what's going to happen. Okay? So that's just a basic understanding of what I think you should be doing with your time. 80% of your time spent on those 3 things: prospecting, presenting, and following up. And give us a try at trackthelead.com. Go there, set up your free trial period, and give it a try. Give us feedback and let us know what you think about it. Okay? And you can always email me, or you can always email me and ask me questions. I'll be more than happy to answer those for you. When you sign up, you just hit the feedback button, and I'll be sure and get back to you. Hey, thank you so much for your time.